Hey everybody! Well, today we're going to take a look at another cool wooden kit. So this is Little Red Riding Hood. I thought this was kind of neat. It's an automata or an automaton type of kit. They're kind of like the old school kits that you used to see mostly in museums nowadays, where you turn the crank, and some of them are electronic as well, and there's little movements going on in here. So we have the infamous scene from Red Riding Hood where she is eating her porridge, and then the wolf is disguised as her grandma. So on the back here, you can see a little bit more going on. Now when you turn the crank, she moves her head so it looks like she's kind of like eating her porridge for a little bit, and then all of a sudden the wolf tries to take a bite out of her. So you can see his mouth is opened really wide. So it's kind of a neat little thing, and hopefully it's not going to be too complicated to put together. It says no glue is necessary on this. Probably not a whole lot of parts to it, and thankfully everything's already printed on there. You don't have to glue pieces of paper on there. I don't like that. I think it's better when things are already printed. It makes it a whole lot better, and it just looks better too. Alright, well, let's take a look at the parts. By the way, this is by a company called Clockwork Dreams, so that's the name of the company that makes this. Now on the inside here, we can see that it's all in one bag, and there's a lot of parts in here. Look at all this crazy stuff going on. So everything's printed, thankfully, and hopefully everything will go on nicely. I did have this one piece that was kind of stray. I don't know if it fell out of a hole in here, and hopefully I'm not missing any parts, because there's a lot of small parts in here. So this looks a little more complicated than I thought it was going to be, but we'll give it a shot. I think it'll be fun, and hopefully it'll work right when I get it all put together. Okay, so I've gotten started on this, and there's quite a few parts. Got a lot of large pieces here. These are probably for the base, I'm guessing, is what all of that's for. And then I've already gotten started on some of this, as you can see here. So this is some kind of a round section. And then we've also got some frames going on here. And these are movable. You can see these are movable. So it must be some of the arms that make some of the mechanisms work. And then the instructions are nice and clear. I actually really like this a lot. They give you a legend on what number the parts are. They show you what they look like. These are all the plain ones, and then all the ones that have the all the little graphics on it, they're all right here. And over here is some kind of other stuff. I think it just kind of shows you the movement of it. And then the instructions, as you can see, they just kind of match up. You can see the number of the parts and where they go together. They are so far going together nice and easy, so that's a good thing. And then, as you can see here, there is just a ton of these little bits. There's a lot of stuff going on. What else I like about this is that, let's see here, let's take a look at this. Here is the wolf. Let's see, is that his head? Oh, actually, no, here's the wolf head right here. So you got the wolf head, which looks great, and then on the other side, see how it's got the printing on the other side too, but it's only on the one side of his face, so you know which is the front or the back. Same with Little Red Riding Hood's face as well. And here's the back. So, and these are really nicely done. I mean, you can see the graphics on this are great. So there's all kinds of cool pieces in here. I really like this a lot, so it's been a lot of fun so far. Alright, well, I guess I'll get back to work on it. Alright, so I got the whole base put together here. It's pretty sizable. It's bigger than I thought it was going to be. So you got this big old gear right here. You got some mechanisms going on in there. So now when you turn this crank like this, you can see how these things move up here. And see how they got some really weird movements the way they do that? That's due to those interesting little, I don't know what you call them. They're kind of like these round things right here. This one here, and then there's one on the back side. Let me see if I can get a good view of it. Where's that one rolling? Right in there. They're kind of like these odd shaped bits right there that you see in the center of your screen. So when this moves, see how that has odd shapes to it? That's what's allowing that to move around in there. So it's very cool. And it actually moves pretty smooth. Usually they ask you to put wax on the wood parts, but not with this. I think it's because the tolerance of the parts are a little bit smoother. So yeah, it's a pretty neat little thing. Alright, I think we're going to start working on the top section now. Alright, here it is all finished now, and this was actually pretty cool. It didn't take that long to put together. I really love how all of this looks once you get all the colored pieces in there. This whole base was really pretty fun. Didn't have too many problems with it. I did have a little issues with the wolf's head, and I'll show you what I mean when we get some close-ups of it. But this thing is really wild. You know, I gotta say, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels this way, but these old automaton type toys, and also just like the fairy tales that we grew up with as kids, they were kind of scary. You know, it's like the way this thing moves, and I'll show you what I mean when we start turning the crank. It has like, well, some people would probably call it nightmare fuel. I don't know if I'd go that far, but it does have kind of a creepiness to it. But anyway, I'll show you some close-ups because I want you to see all the cool details on here. So I did have these extra pieces left over. I kind of was worried. I thought, well, there's a big old gear, but I looked everywhere and I didn't miss anything, and everything works fine. So you are going to have those extra bits left over. Now here, of course, we already saw the base part of it, so let's take a look at this cool section up here. So I love the way everything looks. So you can see a little Red Riding Hood here. You can see all the nice little details on her face. Her mouth kind of opens and closes, and when we turn the crank, you'll see that she's eating her... I thought it was porridge, but I think that I'm getting that mixed up with the Three Bears and Goldilocks. She's eating some kind of a muffin. I can't remember the whole fairy tale from back then, but you can see how she looks. The nice detailing on her clothes, a little flower type of pattern. The chairs look really good. Look at that nice wood pattern that they got on there. Her little feet hanging off of there. Then we got Grandma, or otherwise known as the Wolf. She's wearing, he is wearing Grandma's funny little pajamas there. Nice little floral print. Love this fork. It's attached into the table right there, so it keeps that arm stable. And then he's got a knife back there. Look at this great facial expression. That looks so cool. The teeth. My grandma, what big teeth you have. Oh my God, this is too cool. I love that. The tongue. He's wearing the little bonnet right there. That's the mechanism. Look at that tail. The tail will move a little bit as well. The chairs look great. I look at how they got the wood grain and stuff going on in here. Very, very cool. This is what this side looks like. So it's kind of weird how this is kind of like a plain, but it does have a little bit of pattern right up there. And this arm is loose. So you can see right there. And so is Little Red Riding Hood's. Hers moves so that their body can move. You can see the other side here. I love the bow on her head. This is very cool. Now, I was mentioning I did have some struggles with the wolf head. I don't really know why I struggled with this, but I did. This particular piece right here, you'll notice there's a bit of a break in it. That's because I broke it by accident. It's kind of fragile, and you're trying to squeeze it together, and the bottom part of that is kind of forked off at the bottom, and so it's split, so I had to glue it. But I don't know why I had a hard time getting some of this together in here. It just seems like I had to kind of struggle with it. It's not that hard. It's just probably something I did. You know how I am with this stuff. Look at how the nose it just kind of floats in the middle right there. It's really cool. So yeah, it is kind of hollow looking in the middle, but that's okay. You're not really intending to look at it from the side. But it's really cool. I also like the tablecloth. One thing I do wish they would have done is have something on the floor here. This looks kind of plain. I wish they would have had maybe this kind of wood, maybe like a hardwood floor down here, or it would have been cool to maybe have even a little rug in the middle that they're sitting on. I think that would have been kind of cool because it looks a little plain compared to the rest of it. I suppose you could paint your own rug or whatever you want on there before you put the whole thing together. I didn't really think about it when I was building it. Alright, well, let's check it out because it's really fun to see how this works. Alright, so I'm going to focus mainly on the characters instead of the crank. Here you can see how they move. So there's Little Red Riding Hood eating, and then there's the wolf taking a bite, or trying to take a bite. Isn't that wild? Look at that. It's kind of wild how her head moves, and then all of a sudden the wolf lunges at her. I gotta say, for being wood, this is a very smooth movement. It's surprisingly well done. You know, as I mentioned in some of the other wood kits that I've shown before, you always put wax on some of these parts. These ones you don't really need to put wax on them. I think maybe because the parts are bigger. I'm not really sure why this works so well. I mean, if you want to put wax on there, you most certainly can do that. If you have some laying around, you can use a crayon or something. But this is great. Look at the way, see how everything kind of moves in there? See how that mechanism works for Red Riding Hood's head right there? Look how that moves. And you can kind of see the wolf here See his tail moves just a little bit, kind of moves up and down. And I like how his arm is stable there, but hers is, you know, able to move a little bit, just like that. I'll show you what it looks like from the other side. What's nice about this is that you can look at it from both sides, so it's not just only visible from the one side. I think that's nice that they did that. That's so wild. When I first started turning the crank here, things didn't work. I wasn't sure what was going on. I thought, oh, great. And then I thought maybe that extra gear was something I forgot. But then after a few cranks, it just started working. So, not sure what was going on there. Maybe it just needed to kind of get a start. That is so wild. I like it. I like it. It's very, very cool. This is so neat. Kind of creepy, but pretty cool. So I found this on Amazon, of course, where I seem to find all kinds of crazy stuff. And I just thought it was really cool. It normally retails for about $60, but I found it on sale for $48. And as of the making of this video, it's still on sale for $48, and it's probably going to stay on sale. So if you want one, go check it out. In fact, I'll go ahead and put a link in the description if you want to check it out. I'm not affiliated with this company, which was called, what was it? Clockwork Dreams. Yeah, that's it. So it's pretty neat. I think it's really cool. It was a lot of fun to build. Works surprisingly well. I think it's fantastic. It's pretty big. It's about 17 inches tall, like I mentioned. So it's got some height to it. But I think you'll enjoy the build with it, and then you can play around with it once you're all done. Alright, well anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. I'd very much appreciate it. And until the next time, I'll see you on the next video, so thank you again, and have a good one.